Hello. So, I was browsing Twitter, as you do, and I found this take regarding Go's errors. The irony is that if the pressure is too high and the feature too small, it can result in total paralysis. Go's inability to agree on an error handling syntax is a good example of that. Coroutine based iterations and generic should have been more controversial, but they landed. This references this article. I don't know what the hell he's talking about for half of this. I don't know. I don't program in Go. But this is the part I found interesting, which is the error handling. So he talks about this article that just goes into the fact that Go doesn't have any syntactic sugar for errors. You just call a function, you get the value or you get an error, and you check if the error's null or not. So it's the most basic form of error handling. One of the things I found interesting is this article talks about this function, and it says of the 10 lines of code of this function body, only 4 appear to do real work. So in the eyes of the author, the only real work here is essentially these calls to, well, the actual logic of the function, that the happy path, I suppose. In this one, I think it's printing the sum of 2 strings. So I guess these are both strings, converts them to integers, adds them together, and prints the result. But in their view, the only real work is here, here, and here, and I guess here, I suppose. I just found this very interesting because I think it displays a really weird view of programming, in my opinion. That the error paths are an inconvenience rather than what your program should actually be doing 90% of the time is handling errors or handling failed cases. They've equated it being annoying to write with it not being real, which is, they're not the same thing. Yes, this is annoying. I do agree. It is annoying to handle errors, but that's literally the problem you're trying to solve, is your program can go wrong more often than it can go right. And this isn't really a conversation of whether this syntax is good. I just find it interesting that the view underpinning that is, I don't like writing error handling code, therefore it's not legitimate. I feel like that's what they're saying here. And this is quite a pervasive view, I think. And I think it's quite a damaging view, because you don't treat errors like you should. You treat them as an inconvenience, obviously. You don't treat them as a legitimate path. And when you do that, it opens up a whole range of different ways you can handle errors. There isn't one way to handle errors. The best way to handle errors is not have errors, for example.